स्टडी IQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
So hello and welcome everyone. We have with us Arjun Gupta. So all India rank 1 Indian Economic Services, then first attempt IPS, then second attempt IAS. So welcome to this discussion, Arjun.
Thank you, sir.
So it's like कि three eyes in hat trick, मतलब line से.
So yeah,
So-
I think by God's grace ये मिला है तो I'm grateful to God, to my parents, to my spiritual guru कि उनकी वजह से I've been able to achieve this. But yes, thank you so much, sir.
Great. So purpose of this interaction is to let students know कि आपकी जर्नी कैसी रही. कुछ ऐसे challenges होंगे आपके इस जर्नी में जो अभी कितने सारे एस्पिरेंट्स खुद फेस कर रहे हैं और वहां पर सेल्फ डाउट भी होता है. जर्नी में क्लैरिटी लाना एक बहुत बड़ा पर्पस होता है जो हम सोच रहे हैं कि इस डिस्कशन से उनको कुछ हेल्प मिलेगी.
Yes,
सो
sir.
अर्जुन, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम स्कूलिंग, तो आप कैसे स्टूडेंट थे अगर हम स्कोर वाइज बात करें और एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर, मतलब दोनों का मैच करके?
So initially तो I think I was an average student in studies or maybe ठीक है थोड़ा सा above average बोल सकते हैं. But until class 8 I remember I was not like exceptional or even the topper of the class. But 8th class में I remember I cracked science Olympiad science Olympiad, and that was I think the inflection point where I actually got interested in science or even studying and all those things. And from there, beyond there, I think that there was progressive target setting that happened in my life. So after class 10th, I started preparing for IIT JEE, and eventually I cleared it after class 12th, and then I joined IIT Kanpur. And as I said, my schooling was initially from Jammu in Army School Kaluchak till class 12th. And from there, I went to IIT Kanpur. And initially, I was admitted in biotechnology branch, but after 1 year, I decided to change my branch to economics. And that was purely on the basis of the fact that placement prospects were very good for the economics and all those things. There was no plan of UPSC at that time. But eventually, second year, third year, fourth year, and in fourth year, I was doing a research paper and I was planning to go for PhD. And my advisor also advised me you should go for PhD. And during the research paper that I did during my fourth and fifth year, I realized that maybe I cannot pursue research because I do not have aptitude for that. But I decided to go for placements, and I got placed in McKinsey, and I decided to work there for 1 year, and I also worked there. And that was a good experience. But again, sometimes things click, sometimes they don't click. So it didn't click me. I decided on 15 July 2021, I remember the date that I submitted my resignation. I decided to take plunge into UPSC and civil services examination. And that was also motivated by the fact that during that period there was COVID, and there was a lot of news of civil servants, police officers doing a very good job, and that acted as a motivating factor. And after that, I prepared for 1 year from 2021 to 2022 and gave my first prelims exam, which I fortunately cleared. And during that time also, I gave the Indian Economic Services exam. And since economics was my optional and also the subject that I studied in my college, so there was that kind of an advantage I had that I already had covered a large portion during my I've covered that subjects in the during my college time. But although that not from the UPSC perspective, but still I had a good idea about what needs to be done. So during that time, Indian Economic Service exam happened, and eventually I got through it. But meanwhile, I also gave my mains exams of CSE 2022. And eventually, I think with respect to the challenges, I think if you see, everyone faces challenges of having a self-doubt ki hoga ya nahi hoga. But I think after 2-3 months into the preparation, I realized it is something which is very unpredictable. But one thing that can be made predictable is you do your preparation daily. You set your goals daily, you do it on the consistent basis. And that one each day, after 365 days, you have 365 into 8 or 365 into 10 hours that you have devoted to that particular preparation. And it is a large amount of hours to, I think, if not clear, but get a good grasp over any subject or any multiple subjects that we study in UPSC. So I think the strategy was to take it as a mini goals of every day rather than getting overwhelmed by the the larger picture, ki only 70 get selected or 200 get selected from among 4 to 5 lakhs that appear. So that gets overwhelming at times, but you need to, like, again, I think the daily goals need to be set along. Everyone faces challenge, and I think challenges are different for different people. My parents are in teaching line. My father is a principal, my mother is a teacher. So I had that environment in my home to study and to actually interact with them also when I faced problems. So in terms of those areas, I was fortunate that my parents were very supportive, and there was no financial issues also. So there were no problems on that side. But again, you feel demotivated when you do not get good marks in mocks. So eventually, over the period of time, I've realized that these things happen just because you have to grow. If these things do not happen, you will not grow in life. So that is one learning that we have to take. Even if you're getting bad marks in mocks, you should not get demotivated. It is easier said than done, but yeah, you have to keep that, the motto and the motivation very high. कि ठीक है, हो जाएगा, progressively हो जाएगा, and you have to see the light in the end of the tunnel. I think that is the final preparation journey that I have seen. कि हो जाएगा, हो जाएगा, हो जाएगा, and ultimately it gives you results in some form.
ग्रेट। सो मैंने स्कूल से बात की थी और आपने पूरी जर्नी बता दी, सो दैट्स ग्रेट, क्योंकि हमने चैलेंजेस पे स्टार्टिंग में बोला था कि वी नीड टू कैटर टू दैट। आपने बताया कि कोविड वाले फेज से आपको लगा था कि यस आई हैव टू गो इनटू दिस फील्ड। तो अर्जुन, लगभग कितना टाइम लगा आपको ब्रॉडली सिलेबस को कवर करने में? एक स्टूडेंट के अंदर एक डाउट होता है।
Right. So I think just to give some caveats, because as I said, मैंने economics optional, although मैंने पूरा नहीं किया था, but I've studied parts so मेरा optional मेरे को उतना problem नहीं कर रहा था. So I started my preparation in July, and so I started in July. So until March, I did my mains and the mixed preparation, the basic foundation that you have to build for each GS1, GS2, 3, 4, and essay. And I was also doing optional and also taking a coaching material of Bliss Point for my economics optional. So I was preparing along with that. So I think that span of 5 plus 3, 8 to 9 months, I established my foundation for different various and made my notes, like the first set of notes that we make for the exam that I made in those 9 months. And I think it was comfortable period for me because my optional was not something that I've not read before. But if your optional is something which you have not read before, then you can add 2 to 3 months more to that preparation. So that was a preparation for pre and mains and before the pre period. Then for 3 months I did pre completely. And after the pre was cleared, I think again the 3 months that I took for mains, and that was purely based on reiterating my notes that I made and making them much more shorter, and also including various test series that I was giving and including notes and examples from that.
So basically 2 kind of notes are like mandatory, जो उनको खुद ही स्टूडेंट्स को करने चाहिए. They should not rely on so much content which is floating in market. अल्टीमेटली जब वो खुद नोट्स बनाएंगे डिटेल प्लस जैसे कि हैंड रिटन नोट्स जो आपने लास्ट में कंपाइल किए, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली वही काम आने हैं. ठीक है, तो वो उसने ईज कर दिया आपकी जर्नी को काफी हद तक.
राइट, ट्रू.
ग्रेट. अबाउट ऑनलाइन रिसोर्सेस, मतलब काफी सारा जो समय है स्टूडेंट्स का वो आजकल ऑनलाइन जाता है, एंड नॉट जस्ट इन नेगेटिव सेंस, टू सर्च सम गुड कंटेंट, वाचिंग सम डिबेट्स, लेकिन कई बार उसमें ओवरवेल्म हो जाते हैं स्टूडेंट्स क्योंकि टू मच नॉलेज ऑन अ पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक that may not be required. So how you actually strategize on that point?
So I think there are 2 learnings, like the UPSC 2022 exam and the 2023 exam that I get. So firstly, my approach that remained constant was, if I choose a topic, I first wrote down the questions, because if you write questions, you will look for answers to that questions only, and you not divert from the the topic. So that was the first attempt. And I think the simple strategy is 5W1H: why, when, why, how, and all those things. That is already in the public domain. And you look for that and you prepare your answers according to that. Secondly, with respect to resources. So this is one big challenge. I think there are too many resources and people get diverted to different things. One big change that I made to this strategy was, earlier I used to look at, the resources, type the topic and write PDF or the news or, the current affairs UPSC, and there was so many links. But one good thing that happened in 2023 was there was ChatGPT. And I was relying on that ChatGPT very much, and it gave very, the structured answers as well as the very directed answers.
Hmm.
So now with technology being there, with
Hmm.
these Gemini, Bard and all these things,
Hmm.
I think making use of them can really help you get the answer to the question that you're looking for, rather than wasting your time in looking for different resources. So this one actually saved my time and also provided me, well structured and also with examples, the answers.
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
helped me actually streamline my preparation with respect to online content.
Great. So it's a learning key rather than looking for too many resources. If you want some clarity, you can directly, go on some AI applications so
Exactly.
that you
Exactly.
can have a crisp content. Ultimately, on that topic, you need a crisp content in your notes.
Yeah, or the other strategy could be, if you do not want to look at the AI, is
Hmm.
collect 4 to 5 articles and you see
Hmm.
this will give me the answers that I'm looking for. And for
Exactly.
that, you have to have a set of questions in mind prior to looking for the resources. What
Hmm.
actually you are looking for. If you do not have that clarity, then you will get diverted. So I think
Hmm.
that is the key to have the focused answer to your questions and focused searching for the content online, I
Hmm.
think.
एज समवन स्टार्ट्स तो उसके सामने एक और चैलेंज होता है कि क्या इम्पोर्टेंट है हम ये भी नहीं बता सकते मीन्स देयर इज दैट पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक बट द काइंड ऑफ थीम्स विच आर यू कैन से जिनसे क्वेश्चंस बन सकते हैं तो काफी वेरी
Hmm.
कर सकते हैं उसका स्पेक्ट्रम
True.
तो
True.
उस वाले चैलेंज को कैसे आपने कैटर किया
So इसके लिए I think for mains I specifically first looked at all the PYQs, and PYQs not just questions but the broader theme that they're asking, and
हम्म
you'll ultimately find कि these are the topics that UPSC is asking consistently every year.
हम्म
So if you do that, I think 50 to 60% is done, even more I think. So I think पहला तो ये चीज होना चाहिए कि you look at these PYQs because these are the questions actually asked.
एग्जैक्टली
Then you can go for some, the test series that different organizations are offering. And again, you do not have to go for the specific question, but the broader theme that is being
हम्म
asked, and prepare on those lines.
हम्म
And thirdly, with respect to the current affairs part, which I said, I think again, everyone is reading newspapers, and you have, for example, the non-confidence motion was in news last session that then I gave the exam. So you should know, like the strategy is what is non-confidence motion, where it is mentioned, how it is implemented. So all these things you just have to see it from the broader perspective. What could be the asked in exams? Because in newspaper it is in detailed. It might be useful for the optional person, but not from the GS perspective. So you have to distinguish from being a specialist to being a generalist answer. But generalist answer should not be like completely generalist. It should be backed by examples, but it also show that you have good knowledge on the subject, and also use the jargons. I think that is something that I changed in my 2023 exam. I used a lot of jargons related to that subject, which actually I think have helped me improve the score.
एग्जैक्टली इस साल आपने देखा कि टॉप रैंकर्स में आईपीएस ऑफिसर्स हैं नाउ दे आर गोइंग टू बी आईएएस सो व्हाट वाज योर मोटिवेशन मतलब आईपीएस क्यों नहीं आईएएस क्यों
I think it's not key IPS nahi. I think that is definitely not this thing. It is
हम्म
IAS because thoda sa diversity, and I think being in service in IPS for last 5 months, I think बहुत ज़्यादा difference मुझे लगता नहीं है, except from the fact that in police you are very specialized
हम्म
towards investigation, and if
हम्म
you have think you can you are motivated to do that, it's I think one of the best services.
हम्म
And the uniform that comes with it, it has its own charm, I think. And for IAS, I think because I've been in economics, so I had that inclination if I could pursue economics in future in the policy making also. That is why I gave this exam IAS. Otherwise, I did not take the leave that is usually offered if you can take leave for 1 year. I did not avail that because I was happy with IPS also. But just to add to that, IAS had that only one advantage, that it gives you that diversity to work in various fields.
ग्रेट सो अब क्या विजन है आगे आईएएस तो हो गया
विजन, आई थिंक विजन तो एज सच मैं ये बोलूंगा कि टू कंट्रीब्यूट टू माय बेस्ट ऑफ माय एबिलिटीज. आई थिंक दैट इज द ओनली विजन एंड द मोटिवेशन आल्सो, बिकॉज आई एम too young to set a vision for myself. So that's what I think. I think there's a lot to learn. अभी तो वो learning process ही चल रहा है. I learned a lot in IES. Now in IPS, I think it has been life transforming 5 months for me, physically, mentally, and also, I mean, what it takes to become a leader, to be an officer, it is actually being taught here. So I think, yes, to learn daily, to learn as much as I can, and then contribute in any way I can. I think that is the only vision I have right now.
ग्रेट सो अर्जुन, स्टडी आईक्यू ने कैसे मदद करी आपकी?
I think so. With respect to expert guidance, I think one of the major sources of guidance has been Anil Swaroop sir, and I've been following session with iStudy IQ for last 2 years. So, sir, I think there are nitty-gritties in every job where that we do, and which only can be given by the experienced person. So that is why उस job को किसी भी task को perform करने के लिए क्या procedures हैं, क्या आपका mindset होना चाहिए, वो ये वही बता सकता है जो उस job में रहा हो. So I think in this sense, expert guidance comes the most in the interview part. Because यहाँ पे we have those case studies or role playing questions that are being asked in the interview. And if you have heard from someone experienced as Anil Swaroop sir, I think it gives you clarity on how to make up the mindset for the interview as well. And of course, in the means preparation, you have, again, with respect to resources, a lot of resources, and you need someone to guide you. कि यार इतना मत पढ़ो, इतना ही पढ़ो, but अच्छे से पढ़ो. So I think I was lucky enough कि my sister was there. She was also preparing, and she actually had a very good knowledge about कि क्या पढ़ना है, क्या नहीं पढ़ना. She used to guide me कि ज़्यादा मत पढ़, but ये वाला पढ़ ले, अच्छे से पढ़ ले. So that is, I think, is of key here. कि you do not get diverted, as well as you get someone experienced like Anil Swaroop sir, as I said, जो बता पाए आपको कि what kind of mindset you need to have to be prepared for this exam. I think that is important rather than clearing. Clearing is, I think, just a matter of luck. एक दो marks मेरे भी नीचे होते तो I would not have been in the list. तो ऐसा चीज नहीं है. तो I think it's more about the broader perspective of how to approach this preparation. That is key for with respect to expert guidance.
Great, Arjun. So बात करके आपसे काफी अच्छा लगा और best wishes. Wishing you impactful time ahead.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Study IQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल.